Thank you, Mary. What a wonderful way to start worship this morning with O Holy Night. The chimes are going to play of the Father's Love Begotten, and it is in your hymnal on page 118. So if you will turn to that, the chiming choir will
also
present.
emailed the lyrics to everyone this morning.
Ron emailed the lyrics to everyone this morning too. I would like to make introductions quickly. Those we have in the meeting house this morning, Gage Stemmer and Ellen Craig. We have Doug Baker and Eileen Critch and Tom Harold and Jim Wells and Sally Tucker. Sally, it's good to see you this morning. And on the other side, we have Rob and Val at the back. It's good to see you guys this morning. We have Dennis Engel. We have Nita Burton and Shirley Ertl. It's good to see you this morning, Shirley. We have Susan Simons, who is here with us, and Dave Longnecker. We have Marcia Holliger. We have Norm Peters and Karen Peters. And yeah, you can wait. And Sharon Reinert. And then we have Doug and Kathy Simmons and Michelle Lilly, Mary Clark and Ron and I, and Brian Lilly. He was hiding behind the television. So the choir is now going to sing Go Tell It on the Mountain. Oh, I did not introduce the people on Zoom. I will get this, people. The people on Zoom this morning are Dwight Ferguson from Bella Vista, Arkansas. Welcome, Dwight. Keith Kendall from Friends Fellowship down in Richmond. Welcome, Keith. Teresa Wallace and Kenny Girton from out by the Dairy Queen somewhere around there. It's good to see you guys. Lois Hogue from Sarasota, Florida. Kathy Burton is with her parents. She's recovering from knee surgery, and so she's being cared for, which we're thankful for. Cliff Painter from California, and you will see, he'll probably put the picture back up. He got hit by a tree on his garage, so watch his picture. They've had terrible storms out there, but it's nice that you have electricity and are here with us now, Cliff. We have Terry Reinert from here in Winchester. Welcome, Terry. We have Pat Engel from here in Winchester. Welcome, Pat. Cleo and Diana McFarland from here in Winchester. Welcome, Cleo and Diana. And Jeff Clark from Winchester. It was nice to have you here, Jeff. You're going to have to show up again. It's good to see Stan and Gretchen Hendrickson from Winchester. Thank you for being here. Al Groth is down in Florida. Al, we miss you already. Thank you for being here, though, this morning. We have Rhonda Schofield and Sam Schofield and Delmer Ferguson from Overland Park, Kansas. Welcome. It's good to see you. Kent Craig, it's good to see you this morning. It's nice to have you from Goshen, Indiana. Tony and Marcia Critch from Winchester, Indiana. It's good to see you. We have Kendra Holliger from Richmond. It's good to see you, Kendra. And we have Betty Locke from Summers Point. We have Charlie and Valerie Boyd from Wichita, Kansas. And we have Janet Ross from Winchester, Indiana. So thank you all for being here.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Pam. Happy birthday to you.
Yes, I can't ignore it.
Children, go where I send thee.
Go tell it on the mountain,
Where shall I send thee?
over the hills and everywhere.
Go where I send thee.
Go tell it on the
That
mountain.
Jesus Christ is
Jesus Christ is born.
Jesus Christ is born.
Jesus Christ
He
is born. He is born, born in Bethlehem. Children, go where I send thee. How shall I send thee? I'm gonna send thee one by one for the little bitty baby born, born in Bethlehem. Down in a lowly manger, the humble Christ was born.
And God sent us salvation.
That blessed Christmas morn. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain, that Jesus Christ is born. Down in a lowly manger, the humble Christ was born. And God sent us salvation.
And Jesus Christ is born.
Jesus Christ is born.
Jesus Christ is born.
Now children, go
Mountain,
over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. I'm gonna send thee one by one. I'm gonna send thee two by two. I'm gonna send thee three by three to go. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. Children, go where I send thee. How shall I send thee? I'm gonna send thee one by one. He's born in Bethlehem. He's born in Bethlehem. Now Jesus Christ is born in Bethlehem.
Ron is going to lead us in some hymns.
See if I can remember correctly what I'm doing here. We're going to first sing hymn or Christmas carol number 133 in the hymnal. Hark the herald angels sing. You'll note that both of these carols that I chose for this morning, we're doing some extra music, so we're only going to sing two of these as a congregation. But you'll notice that both of these mention the Prince of Peace. That's why I chose them. If you'd like to stand to sing this first one, that would be really wonderful. Number 133, Hark the Herald Angels Sing. Let's continue with our Christmas caroling with number 160. No, what is it? 52. 152. I stuck markers in here and then picked up the wrong hymnal, I guess. I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day is number 152. Don't be shocked by the 5 verses. They're very short, okay? So we'll sing all 5 verses of number 152, I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day. Again, focusing on peace. Thank you once again for your great singing.
I'm going to make this short. Thank you for the birthday greetings I've had. It's just kind of amazing to turn 70 with this crowd. I am thankful for that. 10 years ago, the food pantry moved into the Shalom Center after spending about 3 years of building and stuff. And one of the things that was first on the walls of the Shalom Center was a plaque that one of the reasons why we named it the Shalom Center. It is from Jeremiah 29:7, that says, "Seek the shalom of the city in which you live, for when shalom is present, everyone flourishes." That's, I couldn't find the exact thing. And the thing is that the Shalom Center was built as a place where we meet the needs of the people in our community, because we want our community to flourish. So when Ron was looking at as he wrote this reflection on peace, and we were talking about the queries for this, I think one of the most important sentences of his essay, or his reflection, was at the very bottom where it says our mission for peace. And he says, if we observe the Advent season hoping for peace in the world, it is incumbent upon us to work for peace in the world. Working for peace is such a difficult thing. It's like nailing Jell-O to a wall. How do we work for peace? And I think I will always fall back to that saying on the wall at the Shalom Center, that when we seek the shalom of the city in which we live, everyone will flourish. And that is what we need to focus on for peace. I just recently listened to a book by Elizabeth Newman, who was a counter-terrorist person in the government in Washington, D.C. for maybe 20, 25 years. And she wrote a book called The Kingdom of Rage. And, I listened to the book and got to the very end, and she talked in there about that verse from Jeremiah 29:7, where she said that that is our calling as a people of peace, that we seek the shalom of the city in which we live. She also talks about that our faith does not promise us power or control. That is an important thing. Our faith does not promise us power or control. It promises us the cross. Jesus, in everything that he did in his life here on earth, is an example for us today. And one of the things that we have to be aware of is that Jesus was actually rejected by his community. And our calling is to live where we are, to build homes, to plant gardens, to care for the earth, and mostly to care for one another. God calls us to pray for the city in which we live, to turn the other cheek, and to seek the welfare of this city. This is our calling, regardless of how the circumstances are around us. It is our calling to pray for the city. We guide our community to the path of peace, and that is how we will live out the life of Jesus Christ to us today. Thank you all for being present this morning.
I don't know about you all, but for me anyway, she doesn't look a day older than she did yesterday. I thank you, too, for your kindness to Pam. She's got to get it somewhere, and I fall way down on that, so. It is the greatest privilege of my earthly life to have gotten to spend all these years with her. She has been the best partner in ministry that God could ever have blessed anybody with. And I will never cease to thank him. I'm going to begin by reading that problematic section of Romans chapter 12 that kind of sets a pretty high bar for what peace looks like, the peace that we are challenged and called upon to work for in this time of great strife in the world. Paul says in Romans 12:9, love must be sincere. Hate what is evil, but cling to what is good. Be devoted to one another in brotherly love. Honor one another above yourselves. Never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor serving the Lord. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. Share with God's people who are in need and practice hospitality. Bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse. Paul must have been familiar with Jesus' Beatitudes and the Sermon on the Mount. Bless and do not curse those who persecute you. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Mourn with those who mourn. Live in harmony with one another. Do not be proud, but be willing to associate with people of low position. Do not be conceited. Do not repay anyone evil for evil. Be careful to do what is right in the eyes of everybody. If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. Do not take revenge, my friends, but leave room for God's wrath. For it's written, it is mine to avenge, I will repay, says the Lord. On the contrary, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him something to drink. For in doing this, you will heap burning coals on his head. So do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. I know that you hear me read that passage a lot and talk about it a lot, but I don't think we can hear it frequently enough. It challenges us to the tips of our toes to not live like the world, but instead to be unique, as the early Quakers said, to be peculiar. And I think we should accept that challenge. The world is crying out for people who will live like Paul was advising there, and there aren't very many around. The thing that has struck me as I have thought about this thing of living in a time of hoping for peace, treating Advent as a time of hoping for peace. What has dawned on me is that the people of Palestine in the day of Jesus, in that time when Jesus was born, such a hubbub for a couple of hours and then it was all over and they didn't hear from him again for about 30 years. The people of Palestine at that time were a little bit like us, or we are a little bit like them anyway. They were exhausted by being subjects of the Romans after the long string of other occupiers and in some cases captors that they had been serving. And most of them had not been alive that long, so they all, basically their exposure was just to the Romans. But those folks knew their history and they remembered what they'd been told about the way that the Jewish people had been treated for well over 500 years prior to Jesus' arrival. And so whether they heard about it, whether they experienced it, they were exhausted by just realizing that we're not free, we can't do what we want to do, we can't do what God might lead us to do because these guys with all the weapons are going to prevent it. The problem for them was that this was right outside their front door. When they left home to do anything to go anywhere, they were confronted most of the time by the reality that they were, in a sense, prisoners of their occupying force. For us, it's when we flip on our TV or look at our computers, we are not experiencing this war up close and personal the way that those Jewish people did and the way that the people of Israel and Palestine are now and the people of Ukraine and Russia are now. And yet still, even knowing about what's going on, even seeing the pictures, hearing the stories, seeing the suffering portrayed on television exhausts me. I turn on the TV as an act of prayer. Those folks need us to hold them before the Lord. But it's not that far from our front doors, when the truth be told. I'm probably too flippant, but I put a statement in what we sent out that we are called to be people of peace, whether it's in the shooting wars or the shouting wars or the culture wars. And those are right outside our front door, those last two. And, with gun violence at the rate that it is in this country, just the news from New York City in the last week reminds us that there are guns everywhere and people who are willing to use them to hurt other people. So it's not quite as far away as Palestine or Ukraine. It is among us and around us as well. It is exhausting. It is especially difficult for those who are the direct victims of some of this violence. And it's why I will never discourage anyone to stay up on the news, but I will encourage you to treat the news as a prayer project, to pray for those people who are suffering the impacts of the wars that are going on around us all the time. It's why I wanted to lift up John 14:27. I put that at the top of the essay that we sent out. I didn't really write much about it, and so I'm going to just speak about it briefly here. Jesus said, this is in the last great discourse before he went to his own death at the hands of the Jewish authorities and the Roman soldiers. And he said in John 14, peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you, peace not like the world gives. Do I leave with you? Peace not like the world gives. I was telling Jim back there a few minutes ago that I thought of him when I made that statement in what I sent out, that the peace that Jesus gives does not require diplomats and generals to arrive at. That's the world's peace. That's peace through strength. That's peace through coercion and force. That's peace through negotiation, which is certainly a lot better than the other kind. But Jesus doesn't require either one of those. The peace that Jesus gives requires agape love. That was the difference. That was the difference. It is the love that presents itself as servanthood. It is the love that presents itself as sacrifice. It is the love that speaks of shalom, true shalom, meeting needs that takes away the reason to fight. Wholeness that eliminates the necessity of fighting. It is peace, as I put in the paragraph on the back page, peace that starts from the inside and works its way out. The world's peace starts on the outside and tries to work its way in. It can restrain behavior. It can even sometimes restrain thinking, but it cannot change the heart. Only God can do that. The peace that Jesus gives that the world cannot give is from the inside out. He comes to us and cleanses our souls. He removes from us the reasons that we would fight. And then he turns us loose in the world to be his ambassadors, to go and love sacrificially, even the people that claim to be your enemies. In order to make the kingdom of God known, in order to let people know that he is born in Bethlehem. The peace of Christ will never come through force. It will never come even through just human negotiations. It will only arrive through sacrificial love and servanthood. It is that to which we are called. It is that which Paul describes pretty vividly in Romans 12, and I would encourage you to read it. The queries that we posed at the end of this are these. What is the work for peace which we should be doing in 2025 as the new year gets underway? How can peace be pursued? That's a reference to Peter's word. Seek peace and pursue it. How can we do that? Number 2, what are your greatest concerns regarding the lack of peace in our own society and in the world around us? Number 3, what hopeful signs of peace and of God's love have you observed around you lately? They are there. They are unmistakable. Sometimes we get so glued to our TV sets that we forget to see them. Number 4, are Paul's instructions and expectations in Romans 12 realistic or even humanly possible? Why or why not? Number 5, what is it about Christ's presence that facilitates peace? And what is it about Christ's perceived absence that enables chaos? And as always happens to us when we sit down and start talking about queries, good ones keep coming to us as we lie down to sleep. I'm going to add a 6th one if you want to make a note. Number 6 would be, and this really refers back up to that paragraph about peace from the inside out. What are the reasons that people resort to violence? Why do people resort to violence? The things that Christ would like to remove from us, those reasons. What are some of those? Just something else to think about. As Pam said, we are so blessed that you are with us today. Thank you for taking time to be here and worship together. As we wait in the Lord's presence quietly, we do encourage you to answer those queries or share other things that God may bring to your heart. Pam will be here to help those online unmute. Rob has the mobile microphone and will be glad to come to you if you'll just get his attention. Once again, thank you for being with us. God bless you all.
All right, I already got something to say. So I was thinking about everything that Ronna just said, and I can't disagree with anything. But I was thinking about how do we bring peace to the world too, and what was coming to my mind was that I think lots of times when we think about bringing peace to the world, we're thinking about bringing peace to our neighbors, which is a good thing. We should be able to do that, and we should focus on loving each other. But I think something that we tend to neglect doing is finding peace within ourselves too, to be the representation of that peace, of God's love. And what does that mean? There was something that I struggled with for a long time since I've been walking this path about people would tell me when I'm struggling with something, when I'm dealing with things like anger or shame or fear, it's just give it to God. And I always it made me frustrated. I once made a joke with my friend, like, what do you want me to do? Take my anger and my guilt and put it in a little box, tie it in a bow, put to God and send it in the mail? That doesn't make any sense to me. But I think what I've learned is it means taking these things that we are ashamed of in ourselves, or that we are the things about ourselves that we don't like, that we wish were different, and stop ignoring them, to let them come to the surface so that we can accept them, and then that we can openly give them to God, so that God's light can shine on these things. When we repress these things, like maybe we have some innate misgivings towards particular people, whether it be specific people or maybe demographics or people, or how we view certain political sides. I see that one coming up a lot too. We tend to think that they aren't, they're less than, maybe not openly, but unconsciously we entertain the ideas that these people who, don't have it wrong, but they see it. I think the thing is that people see things differently. Everyone in this room sees the world differently. We all come from different experiences. And the way that we bridge that gap is not through staying different or staying indifferent towards each other and staying on the opposite side, but through seeking to understand each other, through looking to the understanding of other people. Why do they believe what they believe? Why do they have that interpretation? And I think that's something that really could bridge this political gap we face too nowadays. Instead of looking at these people as our enemy, understand why do they see that way. I mean, it's a lot of people. There's a lot of people, and it seems that the country's divided 50-50, and the only way that we've bridged that gap is by trying to build a bridge. But again, I go back to finding that peace, though, within ourselves, too. Finding that love, and to know God's love outshines all of our shame, all of our guilt, all of our fear. Those things don't belong in us. If we want to be true children of God, we need to be able to find that peace within ourselves. If we are not at peace with who we are and our relationship with God, then how can we expect to bring true peace to our neighbors? I think that's something that maybe we should consider, more so than just focusing on trying to change the world on the outside, change the world that we have on the inside too. Align ourselves with God's love and grace and peace and forgiveness. Thank you.
Thank you.
I like what Gage was saying. I like what Gage was saying. Basically, how can we share with somebody else what we don't have on our own? How can we share something we do not have? It behooves us to find that peace, to bring that source of peace within our lives. Then we have something to share.
Thank you.
First, I'd like to address that I know a lot of you know me as I'm a retired Army officer. That means not that I was a soldier, I am a soldier. And no one wants more peace than a soldier. And as David was called to kill Goliath, and as in the book of Luke, Jesus told his disciples that if they didn't have swords, to go buy swords. And 2 of them carried him into the garden before he was taken. There's a reality that there must be someone at the gate, is what I'm saying. Otherwise, what I was going to bring up, and I wrote this morning, that in the Japanese culture, one of the things that I found impressive is that they're always looking for the perfect moment. Once found, to hang on to it and don't let bad times take it from you. I believe you need to do the same thing for our quest for peace. Find that perfect moment of peace in yourself and then grow it and build it. Once you find peace and you work on it around, then you can grow and show it to those that you are with, your family, your social group, your community, and then the world. Don't try and to create the world of peace all at once, but build it moment by moment, and once in it, build it at one act at a time, and then grow it at one person at a time, or until it's all the time, everywhere in the world. Even God didn't create everything in a single moment or day. He built it a little at a time.
Thank you.
I am thinking about peace from Ron and what everybody said. Sometimes you have to have peace in your own home. And then maybe it'll radiate out around other people too. My grandpa and grandma down in Kentucky, and we lived there with them quite a while, but we had relatives come, we had friends that come. Grandma and grandpa and mom never judged. It was a safe home, I think. And even me growing up in some turmoil, couldn't wait to get to Grandma and Grandpa because it was just peace. And there was no fighting and things. And people would come and visit, and because they knew they were welcome and they were peace there. And they could talk about their troubles and things and could never stop it, I don't think. But it was a sanctuary for us and other people. So sometimes just having a peace at home that people could come to and talk and go away feeling better, and maybe then they can radiate peace out to other people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I am reflecting on the idea of truth in the inward parts, old Quaker phrase, and reflecting on the idea that our um, um, that the measure of peace and grace that we have that we're given by God, by the Spirit, um, that that that's enough to have gratitude for it and to work with that. Kind of like what the friend was saying earlier about the Japanese idea of holding on to that gift. Um, I think the wisdom of the world is to look for it other places, that whatever we have, but not to value it, to that it's not enough, that we have to go searching for more and more and more. But the grace of peace that we're given, each of us is given by God, the measure of that is just the right amount for us to work with in our lives. Um, so I'm reflecting on that. And I'm also there's a autobiography, I think, about a Mexican saint named Sor Juana de la Cruz, and her um, the title is Yo la peor de todos. I'm me, the worst of all, is her biography. So whenever I feel like I just need to say that after I say anything, because I'm the worst. I'm the worst of. I feel like I'm truly the worst of all, in terms of that. Going looking for truth in outside of um, feeling like what's inside isn't enough. Um, so thank you.
Thank you.
The last query is the one that struck me last night, and I thought this won't take long because when I read the first question in the last query, what is it about Christ's presence that facilitates peace? I went, oh, it's hope. What is it about his perceived absence that enables chaos? Oh, it's hopelessness. And I still think I could try to elaborate on that and go on, but I think that's very true. I think there's a degree, it's also love. It's also a lot of things, but You could, the first part, put love, and you could change the last part to searching for love, lovelessness, no love. It's an interesting one to ponder.
Thank you.
So, Ellen, I think you're right about that on a deep, very deep way there. But I think about like Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who wrote the books where he faced against Hitler and evil and hopelessness, and he was going to battle against that. And in one of his books, he talked about that if somebody was going to drive a car through a group of people, wouldn't you try to stop that person? So there's this love and hope out there in a lot of people, but there's a lot of hopelessness out there also. And like here's one of my weekly Uber stories that I can tell you is that I picked up a girl in Anderson one day, and she texted me right before I was to pick her up, and she said, "I'll be the one walking down the road." When she gets in the back of the car, she puts her head in her hands and starts to cry and says, "My boyfriend was beating me up in the garage." She said, "We've got to go." And I said, "Do you need to call the police or what do you?" No, she just needed to get to a safe house somewhere. And so I took her there. But I liken that to kind of like where if you're rowing a boat, so to speak, like as my Uber driver, I'm in a rowboat and I'm a hopeful person. And all of a sudden I'm coming across somebody that's hopeless and in a bad situation. I want to help them and pull them up where I'm at and pull them in to the boat with me. Like if they were drowning in the water, pull them in the boat with me, but then you want them to row with you. You don't just want to keep doing that and make that part of my total way that I do things. You want to try to get people to join in and row with you in that hopeful situation. And so I think Plato said it in one of his books from back whenever, be careful trying to slay the dragon, lest you become the dragon. So I could have got out and I could have confronted the guy and tried to slay the dragon there, but it didn't work out that way. And I'm glad it didn't. And so hopefully I had some influence on that girl.
Thank you, Jeff.
We will wait just a couple more minutes. The choir does have a really nice piece to close this time. But we do not want to steal anyone's opportunity to obey the Lord, so if you know you should speak, please do that in the next minute or two.
All I know about peace and violence is that when violence was perpetrated against me and I did not respond in kind, I always had a comfort that I felt. And when violence was perpetrated against me and I responded in kind, I am still haunted by those moments.
Thank you, Cliff.
We're okay. Let's sing first and then let him close. All right. The choir is going to sing a piece called Christmas Grace. I've sent the lyrics out to those online, so if you have that email from this morning, you can look that up. Christmas Grace.
All right. Everybody hear me all right? So, I have a letter that I wanted to share. It's for my class, but it was a gift that I wanted to give to everybody here. So, as many here already know, 6 years ago, my life changed forever. I was lost, broken, and scared. I truly believed I had lost everything and everyone I had ever lost or loved, and that my life was forfeit. I wallowed in the darkness, struggling to find any sense of direction or hope. In the moment, all I could see was despair. Today, I stand here with a new perspective of those days. What I faced at that time was not the end of my life, but the beginning of a better one. The framework of my life and the beliefs I had constructed began to crumble and fade, revealing the foundation I had built them on was made of sand. It was not long after this realization I became reacquainted with my old neighbor in the most unlikely of places. But this is a story most here already know. Over the next few years, I would go through some intense rebuilding, armed with new knowledge and understanding. I can't stress enough how difficult it was to get through, especially after the COVID years hit. But I'm happy to say I made it to the other side stronger and happier than I ever thought possible. I have learned to accept the past and to live in the moment with joy and hope. I love the life I now get to live as a result of what I had to endure. And I know I could not have gotten here without the support and help of all the incredibly loving and kind souls that are in this room right now, and the many others not here who have stood by my side as I went through the long transition of discovering who I am and, most importantly, my relationship with God. It has been my experience that God does his work best when his love moves through his people, and I feel that every time I get to step through these doors. When I am here, I know that I'm among true friends. Becoming a part of this church has been an absolute honor, and I am humbled by the wisdom and kindness I have received from everyone here. You are all truly wonderful souls, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Never doubt that the love you have chosen to show me as a result of your very real relationship with God has made all the difference in my life. I'm reminded of a story that was told to me many years ago when I was a boy. A person was walking along the beach one day when they came across thousands and thousands of starfish that had washed up on the shore. Having been separated from the ocean, these starfish were beginning to wither and die. Looking further down the coast, this person noticed a young boy who was picking these starfish up one by one and throwing them back into the water. As they watched the boy, they knew that the work of this one young man would be in vain. There were so many starfish, and he could not possibly save them all. This person approached the boy to address this observation, asking him, "Why do you do this? What would be the point? There are so many starfish, you could not possibly save them all. Your efforts won't make a difference." The boy leaned down, he picked up another starfish, and flung it far into the ocean. He looked at the stranger and said, "It made a difference to that one." I was that starfish. There are many others I have known who have never made it off that beach. But I was one of the few who was chosen to be saved. And as a result of the kindness that was shown to me, I now have the privilege of being someone capable of saving others from the same suffering I had endured. I want to make it known that it is not lost on me that this love and kindness was not gifted to me by just one, but an entire community of some of the greatest people I will ever meet. There are no words that can express the true depth of gratitude I have for everyone here who has supported me and been patient with me as I continue to grow and learn and become the man I was always meant to be. It is my hope that today I can give testimony that the love of God can transform the most broken and lost souls, and that choosing to embrace that love and share it with every soul we come across is without a doubt the most important work we can do with the lives we have been gifted. I encourage everyone here to approach every day with the intention to always love fearlessly and to never doubt the smallest kindness can make the greatest difference. I believe with all my heart that by embodying this truth, we can change the world for the better, and I believe that we are already doing it. I love you all, and I thank you for your time. God bless you.
That was Christmas grace. Gage already gave his personal Advent story, but I think we'll call this chapter 2. We may hang a starfish on the tree over there along with his other ornament. And I'm going to have to hang my Medicare card over there, I guess. We're the old neighbors, he called us. But that's okay, Gage. We're glad to be your old neighbors. Before we go, we would like to make sure that friends know what's happening around here. We've handed out a lot of paper today. We've handed out a December and January calendar. That January calendar was kind of a perspective, so things may change a little bit, but that at least gives you an outline going forward. Over on the table there is the offering plate that's usually there to receive contributions from friends for the support of the church's ministries. We simply once again thank you for the faithful way that you have supported the work of our church. Also a reminder that today is the third Sunday of the month. That makes it Community Food Pantry Sunday. There is a Quaker Oats tin over there if you'd like to contribute some cash, or you can leave food items at the office door and we'll see that they get out to the pantry. We just want to encourage people always to be aware of the needs around us and help when you are able. Tomorrow evening at 7:30, the book discussion group will be meeting by Zoom, 7:30 p.m., and they'll be talking about books that are about other places other than the United States or written by authors from other places other than the United States. Should be a real interesting thing. Even if you haven't read anything like that, you can tune in and listen to the book reports. Pam can set you up with the Zoom link. That'll be tomorrow evening at 7:30. On Wednesday this week, the 18th of December, there will be prayer soup supper at 5:30 over at the parsonage. That will be followed by the Welcome Class Bible Study at 7 o'clock. The Welcome Class will be looking at lesson number 7 in the Illuminate Quarterly. So if you'd like to study ahead, please check that out. If you'd like to join the Bible study, just ask us for a quarterly and we'll see to it that you get the Zoom link and you'll be ready to go. So that is on Wednesday evening this week. On Thursday, there will be no choir practices, so we can have the evening off on Thursday, the 19th. And next Sunday, December 22, we just encourage you to meet right back here in the same place at the same time, in the same manner. We will again wait and worship before the Lord and praise the one who has come to save us. Just a couple of other things that are on here. Don't forget the special Christmas offering that Missions and Social Concerns requests each year at Christmas time. We'll be supporting 4 various ministries: Jamaica Yearly Meeting of Friends, plus the Mennonite Disaster Service in their work down in the hurricane and tornado and flood destroyed areas in the southeast. The third thing is the Community Christmas Basket Project that had a lot of clients, I think, this year, and not as much cash, so we can help them out all we can. And the fourth thing will be Gideon's International. We will not have a designated Gideon's Sunday this year, but we do want to support them financially. And all 4 of those things, donations for all of those, will be matched with Best Special Projects or Best Money. So please, as you are led and as you are able, please support them if you can. Ellen gave us the numbers for the Winchester Angel Tree Project that I think wrapped up their work this past week, providing gifts for kids. She said that they have helped 165 kids from 64 different families this year. So they have been busy getting all of that ready to go. Give thanks for Ellen and all the others who have worked in that project to bring some joy into kids' lives. On the prayer concern side of our sheet, we hoped that we would have an update on Becky Edmonds, and we simply didn't succeed in making that connection yesterday. But Becky, as far as we know, is still at Ball Memorial Hospital in Muncie and is not, at least when we saw her on Tuesday, was not doing all that well. So please pray for Becky and for Nate, for their family. They are working hard to encourage her and to keep her going. Please pray for the Edmonds. Val Pearson is with us again today. We're so glad, and she's looking better all the time. She's coming along quickly after a viral infection that caused Bell's palsy. So please continue to pray for Val. It's got to be discouraging for her, so the Lord can encourage you even as your body is healing. Sharon Reinert is with us today. We give thanks that she is now scheduled for her heart valve replacement surgery on January the 22nd. Please pray for her well-being between now and then so that nothing will slow that procedure down. Teresa Wallace told us yesterday that she wouldn't mind if we would add her name to our prayer list. She is dealing with an eye that is giving her some difficulty and may be seeking some treatment pretty quick. So please pray for Teresa as she deals with that. Ask the Lord to bring healing into her body. Keith Kendall has been with us today. He's a bit discouraged because his care committee decided that he needed to stay longer in the rehab and therapy section of Friends Fellowship. So please pray for Keith, that he will be encouraged and that he'll receive new energy. He just has some muscle skills that need to be refined a little bit. So pray for him as he continues to do his therapy at Friends Fellowship. Kathy Burton has been with us this morning, recuperating after recent knee replacement surgery. Pray for her, pray for the other knee replacement surgery patient. That is the son of Tony and Marcia Critch, Trent Critch. He had knee replacement surgery, I think early this past week, and is already up, I think, running marathons or something. He says, sounds like he's a great knee replacement patient. Pray for Trent's full recovery from that surgery. Pray also for Charlie Boyd in Wichita. They are still looking for new treatment options and caregivers for him, for his autoimmune illnesses. Please pray for God's encouragement for Charlie and Valerie as well, and for their wisdom as they make decisions about what happens going forward. Please don't stop praying for Megan Kirkpatrick, the survivor of the auto accident back in July, who was badly injured and is still recovering from those injuries. Pray for all of the Peters family and the Holligers and the Kirkpatricks and others, I'm sure, who are pitching in to help her and to be with her. On our cancer list, there's a real note of encouragement there today. Doug Baker sent an email yesterday saying that he had received word from Doug Dwiggins in South Carolina that his wife Carolyn, who we've been praying for with cancer for some time, got a really great report from her oncology people this past week. The cancer is not gone, but the treatments are going to be much easier for her to tolerate going forward. So give thanks to the Lord for Carolyn's progress, and please keep praying for her, and pray also for others who are dealing with cancer, including Cheryl Thomas, who is the daughter of Linda Groth. She is also in South Carolina. She had very extensive cancer surgery about a week ago and is recovering from that. I think Linda is still there with her, even as Al is with us today. So if you would please pray for Cheryl Thomas, they will appreciate that very much as well. And when you pray for them, pray for all the others that you know who are dealing with cancer in some way. Ask the Lord to heal them and to encourage them and to strengthen them and to send the right caregivers to them at the right time. Do the same for those who are struggling with seasonal illnesses and still with COVID-19 and other things that are going around. Ask the Lord to heal them. Please pray for Cliff Painter, who has a big tree on his garage and doesn't know what to do with it. He is simply one of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds in this country who have been harmed by violent weather in the last several months, by wildfires, by other catastrophes. Please pray for them all, but pray today especially for Cliff, and this week as he deals with the tree that's laying on his garage at the moment. And if you need any reminder, as we have talked today, pray for God's peace, the peace that passes all understanding, the peace that is not temporary, but is permanent. Pray for that peace in the Middle East, in Ukraine and Russia, in Sudan, in all the other places where people are trying to hurt one another. Ask the Prince of Peace to show up. and impart his gifts to those people. Those are the things that were on our list as we put this together. Very quickly, we're running out of time. If there are urgent requests, please speak them quickly, or if they're not urgent, you can just send them to me and we'll make sure they go out on the list tomorrow.
Ron, Christmas food basket distribution is Saturday, starting at 9, so if anybody want to come out and help deliver or work out there, and, just maybe somebody that receives basket will say, I wonder why they did that.
Marcia Holliger has encouraged friends to think about coming to help at the fairgrounds on Saturday this week to finish up the Christmas basket project that has been going on for now a month or more. That extra hands can always be helped, and I missed some of the rest of that, but that's the point anyway, that ministry will happen this weekend. So please pray for Marcia and the others who are the leaders out there who are really working hard to see that all gets done. Anything else before we close? Would you bow with me in prayer for a moment, and let's just ponder these concerns and lift them into God's hands. Let's pray. Lord, we are so grateful that you have been with us in worship today. So grateful that the object of our reverence, the object of our worship, will actually come to us to receive that. Please receive our being together today and our being here today. Please receive all the things that have been said and done here today as an expression of how deeply we love you and are grateful to you for all that you've done for us, how deeply we worship you and revere you. We turn to you as our giver of strength and health. On behalf of the people on this list, we turn to you as the motivator of ministry for those people on this list who have important things to do for you in the days ahead. For all who are on this list and the needs that they uniquely have, we lift them into your care and into your love and ask that you will provide exactly what is needed for each life. Touch them, strengthen them, encourage them, empower them. Help us all to have our eyes wide open to the needs around us all the time, and help us to somehow be a channel for your grace, for your love, for your power into those lives. We commit them all into your care. We thank you again for who you are and what you've done for us. We love you, we worship you, we give you thanks. In Jesus' name, amen. Go in the joy of the Lord. You are at liberty. Thank you for being with us today. God bless you all. We'll leave this open. You're most welcome to visit with one another. I got a couple of errands to run, but I will be right back.